All right, so we're on the Coach's Corner today with Coach Coop from Bonnie Eagle. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's going to be awesome.
Congratulations on the state championship this year. Well deserved. How many does that make now?
That's seven. That's seven.
That's seven. All right, so you still got three more fingers, right? A two and a thumb.
Oh, no doubt. There's plenty of room.
Wanted to talk a little bit today about game planning and kind of how we start on Saturday with an opponent and kind of work them up and do our prep work, and then just kind of move through the week from Saturday all the way to Friday night. So you want to talk about what that first initial part of that prep work looks like on Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, sure. Saturday, we're going to spend a lot of time on ourselves. Honestly, we're going to we bring our varsity kids in from 8 to 9. Let them run around a little bit. Let our JVs come in, start to work for get ready for a JV game on Monday. Once they leave, coaching wise, we're gonna spend probably 3 hours minimum, maybe even closer to 4, just worrying about ourselves. So we're gonna go hard on our film, grade our kids, talk about it as a staff, what we're doing well, what we're doing wrong. We're gonna put on huddle. If we see a kid on a play with a loaf, we're going to note it on huddle. When the kids watch a tape, they're going to be able to see that. It's going to be tagged. The clip's going to be tagged with their number on a loaf. If they've missed an assignment, made a mental error, something like that, it's going to be tagged with their number. So we're going to spend a lot of time with that. So we probably spend less time worrying about our opponent on a Saturday with our coaches meeting than most teams, because we're gonna spend so much time worrying about ourselves. And I feel that's a huge value for our staff to be able to get together, get on the same page. If something went wrong, then I want all of our coaches to be together with, okay, what went wrong? What do we need to do during the week to fix it? If it's something happened with the defensive line, we want to make sure our D-line coach knows that sometime during the week, as he preps for the week, he's got a plan to work this with technique or whatever it is. He's got to work it in his practice plan. So I want all our coaches all together with that. So then when we explain it to the kids, then they'll know. We'll have a united front as coaches to be able to say, all right, here's what we need to do. All right, if we need to do this with our outside linebackers, we do this with our inside linebackers. Here's where our defensive backs are going to fit in. We want to make sure that our situation is handled first on a Saturday. So it's going to be a pretty long process. 3 hours minimum usually, just watching our own tape and grading our own kids. After that on Saturday, we're going to go through our opponents. We're going to look at at least a couple games. We're just going to turn on the film, let it run. Obviously rewind it at certain times, watch plays again. But we're going to try on Saturday just to kind of get a feel for the opponent. A lot of times it won't be hard. We know what TA likes to do. We know what Scarborough likes to do. It's pretty common. But it was a little different this year with where Lewiston's on our schedule for the first time in a while. EL was on our schedule for the first time in a while. Bangor first time in a while. So I mean that was a little different. We're going to try to just take Saturday with our staff and just kind of go through a couple games, kind of feel them out, get a general idea what they like to do, and really after that on Saturday mostly it's study personnel. We're going to try to get an idea of who they have as good. Like if we're starting to think opponent, scout, doing a scout of their opponent defense, what they have a defensive line that's going to be hard to block. We're going to have to say we're going to have to worry about this particular player in a way that you wouldn't normally have to. That you got to build a game plan around. How do they play their defensive ends or outside linebackers? How do they play their edge? We're trying to get a feel for what type of personnel they have in those respects. They have any offensive linemen that are real ass kickers. That we need to make sure that we know that we have to do something defensively, maybe to that guy's side. They have a receiver that we need to make sure we have safeties over the top. We're trying to determine on Saturday, what are the impact players of the opponent first and foremost. If we can get that done on Saturday, as far as opponents, then I think we're doing a pretty good job as a staff. We're right where we need to be. And we might spend some time on Saturday just throwing some general thoughts out there. But I've always found that it's tough to really think about an opponent till you've had time to study the film a little bit more. So we're going to take Sunday and study the film. We're going to get hit charts going for the opponent offense. We're going to get basic and coverages for the opponent defense. We got to really look at that on a closer scale before we start talking. Here's what we want to do. So we won't actually do a lot of game plan work on Saturday as a staff. It's more probably scouting report type stuff more than anything else. And then Sundays, I don't usually bring our coaches in on Sundays. We usually take Sundays, and the beauty of Huddle is you can watch as much as you want as individual coaches on Sunday. You don't need to bring everybody together. 15 years ago, you had 3 videotapes, and you had to bring them in. You bring the staff, and you had to watch those videotapes all together because you just couldn't send them home. You had to keep them all in one spot.
And you had to go get those videotapes.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Back then either, right? Driving all over the state of Maine.
Right. So it's kind of funny that as far as the SMA coaches, we would have our set meeting spots. Like I'd meet Jeff Garrett at 7-Eleven in Gorham. I would meet Mike Bailey at Amato's in Gorham. I'd meet Kevin Kiesel on 112. We all had our meeting spots, but that was usually early Saturday morning when we used to do that. But, I think that Huddle is awesome because it allows us to watch tape on Sunday when we need to. And especially helpful for me where I have two boys playing youth football at Bonny Eagle. One son was playing from about 8 to 10 in the morning. Another son was playing a middle school game at 1 o'clock. So, I would watch tape from 10 to 1 and probably not pick it up again till later on in the afternoon on Sunday. And then other coaches obviously are on a different schedule. So we're going to try to use Sunday to kind of look at things on our own. Me as a head coach, I want to look at an opponent's offense, get their hit charts, formation hit charts, get that done, get that on a piece of paper. We want to make sure that we get all their fronts looked at, all their coverages that they're going to do on their defense. So we're going to use Sunday to kind of work on our own, honestly. And we might trade some ideas. I've got one great assistant named Ben Ledoux, who's been with me for a long time, played for us back in the early 2000s. Coaches our offensive line, our linebackers. Him and I might be shooting text back and forth on a Sunday night, both sitting at our laptops watching video. But that's probably it that we're doing as a staff on the weekend.
So then as you move out of the weekend into Monday, do you spend some time on Monday reviewing your own stuff that you kind of looked at on Saturday with your players, or is that done mostly through Huddle?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we take the same approach Monday as kind of we did first thing on Saturday. Like I don't like to bring our players in to watch tape on Sunday. I know some coaches might do that. I don't feel I've looked at it enough. I want to be pretty direct and specific with our players. Like I don't want to spend time having to look at the game tape first. Let me process it, then have to explain it to players. I want all that stuff done so we can be very direct with them on Mondays. So obviously we'll send our JVs. The JVs will go play a game, but we'll have our varsity guys. And we'll do on Monday. We'll get probably a half hour to 45 minutes in the weight room first thing on Monday, and then we'll watch video. And that's probably a 2-hour process with our players. Honestly, we're going to spend a lot of time with it. It might be 50 minutes, 60 minutes almost for defense, and then a quick break time. Where on offense we'll split up, so our O-line guys will go with Coach Ledoux, our skill guys will stay with me, so we can be a little more focused on offense that way. But it's going to be a long process. So if we're starting our work at 2:15 in the weight room, we're watching video by 2:50, 2:55 or so. We're probably going close to 5 o'clock, honestly, with our varsity guys watching our game tape, which doesn't give us a lot of time to work on an opponent. So on Monday, if we're going out on the field, we want to stretch, we want to run around a little bit first, and then we'll do an intro on what the other team is going to do to us. And so we'll probably spend maybe half an hour, 40 minutes with the other team, and even that's probably a little bit longer, honestly, than what we really do when you really think of the time that we have with our kids. So we're probably different than that. like again, as I said before, we're so into worrying about ourselves, correcting our own mistakes. We're going to spend so much on that that's going to be we're probably a little bit later than most teams as far as getting opponent work underway. Like we're not going to our kids will go out in helmets on Monday. That's it. We won't run any plays at them. We might talk about the opponent's offensive plays, but we're not going to run anything. We're not going to get our guys in an opponent's defense and run our plays. It's mostly just walk and talk. Here's what we're thinking about. Here's what we're what the opponent's going to present to us. Here's what we're going to worry about this week, and then we're going to try to get our kids a little quick conditioning work, and then they're out of there. So we're going to be probably later than most teams as far as getting the whole game plan underway with our kids. Certainly, that really won't start till Tuesday when we get them together after school. Monday night.
We look pretty similar to that on a Monday, and I always think it's time well spent when you go over the film with your kids and go through each side of the ball and kind of put last week's game to rest. But there's always some stuff certainly to be learned from the week prior, and then we're kind of the same. We get out there and kind of walk through. The linemen will go with Coach Bach, and I'll take the skill guys, and we'll kind of talk about what fronts they use or what coverages they use or whatever. And then Coach Bonny will take them on defense and kind of do a similar thing where we just here are the formations they use. These are their this kid's a stud. Their tailback is the key to their offense or whatever. But it's a pretty general brush that we paint on Monday as well. So,
right.
What is you got anything else on Monday you wanted to mention?
Yeah. So Monday will be our time as a staff. That's what when the JV game is done, we'll kind of wrap that up, get our JV players out of our locker room if it's a home game, get them back if it's an away game, get them going home, and then we'll take Monday as a staff, and that will be our primary game plan time. And I just think that's better. That's better than doing it on Sunday. It's better for me. I've had a chance to analyze the opponent by Monday, so I can speak about what I'm seeing. Coach Duke can speak about what he's seeing. The other coaches can add in with things that they've seen. We have a much more productive staff talk when we can game plan Monday nights after the JV game. And we'll probably stay till 8:30 or so we're doing that. And when we're doing that, again, our first focus will be on special teams. That'll be topic number one. We want to get our punt team squared away first, because that's as far as special teams goes, that's the one that you got to make sure you can protect the punter and get the punt off. So that'll be first and foremost. Then talk about our punt return, our kickoff return games, and kickoff PAT block last. And so we're gonna do that first. Then we're gonna talk defense. Again, on defense, we want to make sure that with all our fronts, with whatever we're planning on playing, that we can defend all of not all of the opponent's runs, but maybe their 3 or 4 best runs. We want to make sure we know how to defend them in every front that we're planning on running. I'm not a big believer in adjusting, saying that we've got to run this front to stop this. We've got to run this front to stop this. We've got to run this front to stop this. I think if you do that, you're giving the opponent the edge. I'm sure as an offensive coordinator, play caller that you are, if you know that you can get us in this particular front by doing this, and then you're gonna, once you know that, you're gonna have your way with us. I want to make sure that in our base fronts, whatever base fronts we're going to play, and we're probably going to play a couple, that we can defend every single run. And then I want all our coaches to know that, all right, so if Thornton Academy is going to run power at us, here's how we're defending power. And that way, when we practice it during the week, we're all on the same page, that the outside linebacker coach knows that his guys are doing this. The D-line coach knows that his guys are doing this. The inside backers coach knows that his guys are doing this. As a secondary coach, I know that I'm coaching my guys to do this. And so there's no confusion on how we're going to stop power when we play Thornton Academy. And then when you actually are in the game, again, all coaches know There's no disagreements. Here's how we plan on stopping power. Here's how we're going to go do it. And I think that way, when it comes time for the game, you're more in tune to, all right, so here's what we said we were going to do. One player didn't do it. That's why they just gained 15 yards. All right, so now we got to correct that one player. And the more we can translate that to our kids during the week, then the more successful we'll be on the weekend playing in the game. So we're going to do that with defense. And then on offense, we're going to start working through. We won't put the entire offensive package in. We'll start talking about kind of our base stuff. Like we want to make sure Monday nights that we leave Monday nights and we know here's how we're going to run zone for the week. That's our base play. We want to make sure that we know, all right, here's how we're going to do it. Here are the 2 or 3 formations we're going to do it from. Here we're going to do it here's how we're going to do it out inside zone. Here's how we're going to do it on the outside zone. Here are the RPOs that we might attach to it. Here's how we're going to run zone. And then here's how we're going to run power. That's our second play. And so we want to leave Monday night knowing, all right, here's our game plan for how we're going to run inside zone. Here's our game plan for how we're going to run outside zone. Here's our game plan for how we're going to run power. We're going to leave Monday night at that point. That will take us long enough just worrying about that stuff on a Monday.
So you mentioned you usually carry a couple of fronts into your game plan.
Yeah, I mean, we can run out of our base defense. We're a 3-4 defense, and so we're going to play our base 3-4, and probably our field slide with our front. And we're going to a more of a G front. We might do something else. Maybe we're going to double eagle or something like that during the week. That might be a new one. But we can also play with our base front. We can send our field side players to the boundary side, and then basically you're working on more of a 4-4 type concept. So we can basically play our straight 3-4. We can slide the front to the field, drop our field outside backer off, run a 4-3 look, or we can flip everything and run more of a 4-4 look. So we need to decide on Monday night, are we going to use the 4-4 package? Are we not? I mean, that's kind of a secondary package for us. Are we going to use that? Are we going to do anything different with our front? We're going to do anything different other than our base 3-4 and our base 3-4 with our field G look. Those are the things defensively we're going to decide if we're going to do front wise. So we're going to try anything else or try anything different. I mean, there are a couple other things we can do with our front. Are we going to try it this week? We need to leave Monday night knowing exactly what we're going to do with that.
And then, coverage-wise in the back with the secondary, do you have some base coverages that you just try to play every week, or do you gear it more towards what the opponent is and what they're running, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we can pretty much run our so with our coverages, with our 3-4 coverages, and our 4-3 coverages, we're 2 deep safety coverage. Play cover 2, we can play quarter, half, we can play half, quarter. All those things are pretty much, those are ready to go on just about everything that we'll face. So really what we got to determine in our game plan is, when are we going to play it? How much do we need to play it? If it's a good run team, if we're playing Thornton Academy, we got to be ready to be in more quarters, to give our safeties a little, get those guys more involved with the run game. If we're playing more of a passing team, we're going to play more cover 2. If those teams that kind of will, they're good run the ball teams on first down, we're going to play quarters on first down. Where on second down do we start pulling a safety back? Maybe running some quarter, half, or half, quarter. When do we want to be in cover 2? And so that's really the game plan aspect as far as what the coverages are. How much man do we want to play? Do we have the guys that can play man? Do we want to run some man-free stuff? Do we want to run? How much we're going to blitz? How much we're going to blitz and send 6 and play man-to-man behind it? How much we want to do with that? So that will always be part of the package. I think what we're deciding is, how much do we want to play straight quarters so we can get both safeties in the run game? When do we start pulling a safety back for the pass game? Are there certain formations where we want to pull the safety back? There's certain players that we want to pull a safety back on. When do we say, all right, now we're in more of a 4-3 cover 2? Do we want to use a nickel this week? Do we want to sub any pass rushers? I mean, that's kind of the game plan progression. And then what do we want to do? How much do we want to blitz? And we're always going to have some blitzes in. We're always going to we can send 4 from a side pretty easily. How much do we want to do it? Is there a guy we need to worry about? Do they have a guy that we're going to struggle playing man to man on? I think those are some of the things you want to think about with your defensive game plan.
You had mentioned that you kind of go to special teams first when you meet with your coaches. When you're looking at other teams and you're kind of, prepping up what you're going to do against them in the special teams game, particularly in the punt game, punt and punt return, what types of things are you looking for there?
Well, I think with punt, you get are they a block team? Are they a return team? If they block it, how do they block it? Do they try to send an overload for one side or the other? Are they more of a 4-4 type of block team? How they gonna try to come block it if they are a block team? If they're a return team, sideline return, middle return, what do they like to do? And then really do they have a guy back there? I mean, are they returning the punt with a dude? And there's a pretty good chance that with some of the teams we play, they're putting a guy back there that can really go. And if you're going to kick it to them, you're running the risk of a big play happening against you. So do we want to kick it out of bounds? Do we want to kick it away from him? I think those are some of the things that we have to think about when it comes time for punt. We'll practice a couple different punts. Last year we were primarily a rugby punt team. We had a guy, Zach Maturo, that we wanted the ball in his hands. We wanted to get it to him and let him make decisions. And I thought even though in the state championship game he tried to run it twice, we got stopped all times. Over the course of the year, if you look what he did, he helped us win games by what he could do as a punter in our rugby punt. But we also always practiced a shield punt. So we always had that available. We practice it every Tuesday, Wednesday, first thing we go to our punt period. So our guys, we could have shifted to a shield punt pretty easily. But those are more individual, scheme things. Here's what we do because these are the guys that we have. But I think that you got to make sure that you can protect the punter. It's about as worst a thing that could happen to you in the special teams game is having a punt blocked. As far as punt return, a lot depends on what your scheme is. We are traditionally a return team, but we shifted this year into more of a block team just because we felt we had 3 or 4 guys that could really go get it. And we ended up blocking 3 punts. And so we kind of shifted that way. So when we worried about our punt return or our punt block last year, it was how do we want to block this thing? Is there a weak spot? Is there a weak spot in the opponent's offensive protection? There probably is. It's just a matter of can you find it? Can your guys execute to take advantage of that weak spot? And so we're trying to manufacture the best chance to block a punt as we can. So we're thinking about where we want to come from, where we want to do, who are the guys, so which guys do we think are better to block against this particular look as opposed to a different look. So that's kind of what we were thinking about as far as that goes last year. And then kickoff return. So our kickoff return scheme, our frontline guys, basically it doesn't change a whole lot. We're trying with our 6 guys closest to the kick. We're trying to block the 3 innermost guys on each side of the kicking tee. But we'll take our 3 kind of mid-level guys, and we're going to adjust and change the kickoff return based on what we think our best chance is to get a great return. We're going to adjust the blocking scheme. So they might work a double with one of the up guys. They might block alone. We might look at the opponent's kickoff cover team and say, well, they got a guy that he is a load to handle. We're going to double that guy. And so we're trying to figure out based on the opponent's kickoff cover team, is there a guy that we got to put 2 hats on? Is there a weak spot that they might have? How do we want to go sideline return? We want to go middle return. So we're very flexible with our kickoff return. I think we have a we have a real good scheme of what we want to do with that. Coach Adu does a great job really handling that completely. And then last thing, kickoff. We don't spend a lot of time game planning kickoff. We're pretty standard with our kickoff. We're going to kick from the middle. We're going to put 5 guys on each side. We don't change that very much. And so that's probably the least amount of game planning. More or less, it's, again, do they have a guy that we don't want to kick to? And again,
right.
when you play Thornton and Scarborough, there's a pretty good chance they got a guy you don't want to kick to. So you got to figure out how you want to handle that. Who do you want to kick it to? Where do you want to kick it? How are you going to kick it so that guy doesn't get his hands on the ball? And so our philosophy on that is, we are not going to kick it to Jarrett Flaker if we don't have to. We're not going to kick it to Anthony Bracamonte if we don't have to. It happens sometimes, and those guys will kill you. But we're not kicking at those guys under no circumstances.
Not going to lose that way.
It's just not worth it.
So moving over to the offensive side of the ball, when you start kind of putting together your game plan over on that side, are you more of a, we want to run this on these down and distances type of guy, or more of a matchup guy, or just kind of we're going to run what we're going to run? What does that look like? Yeah,
we try to. So I want to start off by figuring out again what our base run is: zone and power. How are we going to run those plays? What are the formations that we're going to run them out of? Are we going to use any motions? Are we going to use any shifts? How are we going to do that? I've never been a big down and distance guy. I just found in high school football, you just can't count on a team to defend you the same way as what they've defended other teams. Like Thornton Academy is not going to defend Bonnie Eagle like they might have defended another team in our league the week before. They're gonna do certain things to us that they haven't done to anybody else. And so I don't know if you can predict what a team's going to want to do third down. I mean, you kind of have a general idea, but it's not as consistent as it would be, I think, in college football. I think that at college and pros, you got a defense coordinator that on third downs and at a certain distance, they're gonna go with nickel, or you give them certain personnel, they're gonna always go with nickel. And so that as an offensive coach, you come in with, say, 10 personnel on third down, the opponent's always going to come in with nickel. And I don't think you can do that in high school football. We've gone against teams in our league that they're a traditional 4-4 team. Then you see them playing some 5-2, and then against you, they're in a 3-3 stack. And so it's absolutely impossible to plan for 3-3 stack. You never would have thought it was coming. It comes, and now you got to deal with it. And so if I've created a call sheet that has, all right, we're going to run this in 2nd and 7+, we're going to run this in 3rd and 3 to 5, and now they're in a 3-3 stack. Well, all that work it's been useless, really, is what it's been. So we want to figure out how we're going to run our base plays this particular week. So we should be able to run inside zone against anything any opponent wants to do to us. So it's up to me as the play caller to figure out, all right, so this week we want to run it out of this formation because it gives us the best chance to run zone against these guys. Or we're going to do it out of this because we're tagging this particular RPO on the backside. Or we want to run it with this type of motion. And so because they're mostly a man team, and we think that that motion might get a defensive back moving and may not be able to fit in against a run play as well as he might have if it's zone. So we're trying to figure out how we want to run each of our run series. So we run inside zone, outside zone, which is basically the same play for us, just slightly different coaching points with our O-line guys as far as their aiming points. We run power, we run counter, we run trap, we run guard pulls, and we run our tackle wrap play. Those are our 6 run schemes. And so as a play caller, I'm trying to figure out what formations we want to run each one of those schemes out of. That's the first thing. And hopefully I can match things up. So what looks like outside zone jet sweep, when we run outside zone jet sweep, can now also look like the wildcat play where we're actually running power and the quarterback's going to fake the jet and run Q power, or that if we're going to run wrap out of this formation, tackle wrap out of this formation, that we have maybe counter to go with it, that looks the same but it's different, or whatever we're doing in the pass game, whether it's supposed to be a quick pass or play action pass, that we're kind of matching those things up. So once I've kind of got an idea of, right, we're going to run inside zone out of these formations, we're going to run outside zone out of these formations, we're going to run power out of these formations. Now it's filling in everything else to try to get the whole package looking similar, so no one can really get a read on exactly what we're doing. So, as I go through and I build, all right, so we're gonna run our quick pass game out of this. We're gonna do these handful of play actions. We're gonna do this out of our drop back game. Everything kind of ties together an entire package for us. I think drop back game might be a little bit different because now you've got your drop back concepts that you want to hit on. Maybe it's these four this week. Maybe it's verts, snag. Maybe it's skinny post to the backside. This game is more of a feature, but we're always going to try to go into the game having a couple ways to run verticals. We're always going to try to have a way to run our skinny post with a wheel. We're always going to have a way to run our snag. We're always going to have a couple looks out of empty. So we're always going to try to have a few ways to run kind of each concept that we have in the pass game. And so again, like I don't know what teams are going to do to us necessarily on third down, but I might know, all right, I want to run snag on this one. And so as I look at my play sheet, I'll find where snag is, and here's how we practiced it. Here's how we'll run it. Maybe there's two ways because we like that concept this week. And so that's really what, as I build my play sheet, it's all right. So here's zone, here's the inside zone, here's the outside zone, here's our other run schemes, here's how we want to run our quick pass, our play actions, our screen game, and our drop back pass. So I can find it more by play, more by concept than anything else, because I know that if I want to run this concept because they're defending us this way, I can just go find the concept rather than having to find it in a down and distance type of format.
Nice. That makes sense. So take us through now, kind of through the rest of the week. You get into Tuesday, and what does a Tuesday practice look like for you guys?
Yeah. So Tuesday, first of all, we're going to go out in uppers. So we changed that a few years ago, where we would go full gear Tuesday, full gear Wednesday, dial it back to uppers on Thursday to kind of get ready for the game. We kind of changed it. I'm sure it's probably pretty familiar with coaches out there that on Thursday, guys tend to think, well, maybe it's, we're not going full gear anymore. It's getting close to the game. I'm not going to quite go as hard. That's kind of not how we want to approach things. We want to slow build up to game day. So we're gonna go in uppers on Tuesday, and then full gear Wednesday, full gear Thursday. Even though Thursday there'll be very little contact, if at any at all, on Thursday. But just having the lowers on, we're kind of progressing up to that game day Saturday, or game day Friday, or game day Saturday that we want to get to. So Tuesday is primarily an offensive practice. So we'll make sure that we hit on our offensive individual periods. So each coach will have time with his offensive position on Tuesdays to try to work out any fundamentals that maybe is stuff that they saw in the week before that they want to improve upon. Any fundamentals that they know are in this week's game plan, that they have time, 15, 20 minutes where they can work their fundamentals on the offensive side of the ball. We'll have we'll have an offensive inside period. We'll have an offensive 7-on-7 period. We'll have two offensive teams. So I shorten the team session. So we'll only go about 10 minutes in a team session. And then we might break and do a special team, or we might, so the first offensive team session will be primarily our base run period, where we're hitting on our inside zone, our outside zone, power, and our play actions. Those are the primary plays there. We're trying to no huddle. We're trying to go as fast as we can. We're trying to get plays run. Not take a lot of time in between plays. We're trying to coach on the run as fast as we can. If we can film it, even better. And so that's kind of our first team period. Once we finish that, so inside run might lead into that beforehand, and then we'll run that offensive team run session. Then we'll break out a team, hit on a special team, go to 7-on-7 period, come back, and then the second team on Tuesday is more of a team pass. And so we're working our in the pocket game and that second team session on Tuesday, which again was a big change for me a couple years ago. We hadn't done it like that before because I always thought team pass would go on Wednesday. I think if you want to pass the ball effectively, you got to do 2 team passes a week. So we're gonna hit on third down pass on Wednesday, and so that's how we approach Tuesday. We do stick in a defensive team on Tuesday, so it'll be the last thing we do on defense. So even though Tuesday is generally an offensive day, we do have a team D at the end. Again, that period will not be super high tempo. That period we will probably have to walk and talk a little bit because we haven't done any defensive indies yet. So we gotta slow that down. We gotta make sure that guys are understanding the game plan. They've been focusing on offense. We gotta kind of step through things in that period. On Wednesday we come back. Wednesday's a defensive day, so again we will hit our defensive positions, our defensive individual positions on Wednesday. Again, each coach has time, 15, 20 minutes, where they can work on their fundamentals, that they can correct things from the previous week, make sure that their players know what we're doing this week with the game plan, things that they got to be worried about. We'll try to do a defensive inside run. We'll try to do a defensive 7-on-7. Sometimes we stick in a defensive perimeter run. So our defense, a lot of it's predicated on proper support and proper angles. Who's the support player is going to turn it in? Who's the alley run player? Those types of things. So we go hard on that in preseason. We have to revisit it from time to time in the season as well. But again,
is that without the defensive lineman?
That's without linemen. So basically, you'll have on defense, you'll have your outside backers, your inside backers, your defensive backs. On offense, you'll have your receivers, your running backs, your tight end, no linemen. And so it's all outside run. It's toss, option, especially if we're playing an option team.
And that's where I've always found it good too.
Play action pass. If a team's a waggle team, that's when we'll break that down on who's gonna what we call second cage, which means attack the quarterback. Who's gonna make sure that they're running with and find the dragger. Who's gonna get to the post corner? Who's gonna be over the top of the post? Those types of things are done in our perimeter run session. We'll do on Wednesday. It won't always be every week because we don't need it every week, but we'll stick it in there when we need it. And then we'll do 2, again, just like we did 2 offensive teams on Tuesday, we'll do 2 D teams on Wednesday, where the first one is more of a base run emphasis, play action pass emphasis, and the second D team is more pass emphasis, more third down type stuff. And then we'll come back on Wednesday at the end and do one more team period, and it'll be usually our short yardage run and our third down pass plays. So that's kind of how we finish on Wednesday, where we'll come back.
That's on the offensive side of the ball.
That's on the offense. So again, Wednesday is more of a D day
At the end
with indies, a defensive inside run, defensive 7-on-7. 2 defensive teams, but we'll always finish with an offensive team at the end to make sure we cover our short yardage runs and our drop back pass, again, more of a third down type of situation. We'll work on our blitz pickup Wednesday at practice, those types of things. That will finish Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're kind of we're gonna make sure that special teams are set again. So we've worked on special teams. So we'll punt on Tuesday, we'll hit punt on Wednesday. We'll hit punt again on Thursday. So we're practicing our punt team all 3 practice days of the week. We'll hit punt return on Tuesday. We'll hit kickoff return on Wednesday. So we'll alternate with our 2 return games, a session each of our Tuesday, Wednesday, and then hit them again on Thursday. We'll hit kickoff on Thursday. We'll have a period of specialists. We'll practice our punting, our kicking, our catching punts, catching kickoffs. So that's all on Thursday. And then we'll D team again. So D team on Thursday is the first time that we're really introducing to our players. All right, so here's what they like to do on 1st and 10. Here's what they like to do on 2nd and 7+. Here's what they like to do third down nickel situations. Here's their third and short package. So that's Thursday as a defense. We'll do that all together, defensive team. Hopefully at that time, it can go faster, as fast as you can get your scout team offense running plays. You've coached up the defense now. They should know pretty much what to do, what the game plan is. They should know what to expect offensively. And so by then on Thursday, it should go with a little bit more tempo than what it has during the week. And then we'll come back with offense. Probably going to hit another offensive 7-on-7 on Thursdays, and then do a nice offensive team to finish, where we're kind of covering all our situations that we need for the game.
Sweet. Then when you get into game day, talk a little bit about just, in terms of your play calling and that sort of thing. I know you mentioned kind of how you set up your play sheet, and you guys are a no huddle team, and just talk about that process a little bit, and maybe some in-game adjustment stuff. What are some things you're looking for? Do you have some adjustments maybe pre-planned? Do you hold some things back until after halftime, that sort of stuff?
Yeah. So game day wise, one of the things I really like that we do is something that John Suddy brought to us back when he first came to Bonny, which was 15, 16 years ago. Is we meet with our players at 5:30. So we're figuring kickoffs at 7. We're going to meet with our players at 5:30. So 90 minutes before the game, we're going to have about a 25-minute meeting. We're going to do offense first. Coach will do our offensive line coach. We'll take the offensive line guys. I'll take the skill guys. We're just kind of going through maybe about 5 or 6 different things. All right, here's what we're thinking about. Here's what we're looking for. One last time to remind them, because I like to think of it as like a 24-hour rule. You don't want to go more than 24 hours without practicing, without reminding, without talking about what you're doing as a team. And so you finish practice on Thursday at 5:15, 5:30, and you're going a full day before you actually take the field and kick off. And so we're going to try to minimize that time, get our guys together, get them thinking. Most of the time, our guys, super focused on what I'm saying? No, but it might bring up 1 or 2 things that clicks in their mind that they are now going to remember for the game. And then we'll do the same thing with defense. We'll finish with special teams. I'll give my, as good as I can to get the troops rallied up, and then we'll go out for specialists. But as far as in game, offensively speaking, I'm gonna try to pre-script some things. I'm gonna try to have maybe 10 to 15 calls that I want to get to right away. I try to do them in order. If things go great, it'll be right in order, but that doesn't always happen. Sometimes I might flip around, things like that. So what I'm trying to do with those is I'm trying to get us into as many different formations, different personnel groups right off the bat, so we can all see how the defense is going to adjust. We can see what's going to work. How are things happening? I want to get all our different run schemes called. So I want to make sure that we get an inside zone, an outside zone, a power, counter if it's in the game plan, a trap, a wrap. I want to get all those called. I want to get a quick pass called. I want to get a play action called. I want to get a drop back pass called. I want to get all those called as soon as I can, so we can kind of see how the defense is going to adjust, what things are working based on what they've obviously prepped for us. They're going to be prepared for a few things. What things are going to work, what things aren't going to work. And we're trying to call those. We're trying to get them, again, if I can do it right in a 15-play straight sequence, that's obviously ideal. It doesn't always happen like that, for sure. But I'm going to try to get those just so we can get as much stuff looked at, get our stuff right there on the table. I'm not like I really haven't ever saved anything for the second half, thinking that, okay, so let me spring this on them in the second half. I don't see much point in that. I want to, if something's going to work, I want to know about it right away. If something's not going to work, I want to know about it right away. Let's get going. First half's, scoring in the first half counts the same as scoring in the second half. So I'm not going to save too much, but I want to see how teams are going to adjust to us and what looks good for us as the the first half kind of unfolds. I think that using we use Huddle Sideline.
So boy, that's been a help, huh?
So that's been invaluable. We started out with a company called Sky Coach, which is kind of, they were kind of the pioneers with it. Before Huddle Sideline really was offered in mass to coaches, we use Sky Coach. It's been great for us. We went to Huddle Sideline this past season just because our athletic director bought a school Huddle account. So Huddle Sideline was included with that. So we're Huddle Sideline now. And so we got eyes on everything. And, like I said, our assistant coaches are really good. The coach to do is really good at looking at a play quickly, diagnosing what happened during the play, what needs to be fixed, what needs to be corrected, getting our O-line guys when they come off the field as soon as possible, get them coached up, get them going for the next series. So that is an invaluable tool. Any coaches out there that are listening to this, it is well worth whatever the cost is, especially if you have a good staff that you're all on the same page. You know what your staff plan is. You can get eyes on plays, and then get the information to the players. It's just an invaluable resource. I personally don't get to really look at it except for at halftime,
Right.
because I'm shifting right from offense to defense, but our coaches know what to look for, and they're getting stuff diagnosed pretty quickly. And I think that the big thing that happens is not necessarily that you see the other team doing this to you, so you're going to now do this. What it helps for us is you see your players, and are they doing the things that you planned on during the week? So we've had times, it was even in the in the state championship game in 2016 against Portland, and we're really struggling on offense in the first half. And so we go in at halftime, and we're like, all right, what we're gonna do is let's take a look at this. And what we realized from looking at our replay is it really wasn't anything that Portland was doing. It was more stuff that we just weren't doing, that we need to do a better job. They're sending linebackers, they're blitzing linebackers on us. We needed to do a better job of that. We had practiced it all week. It was part of the game plan. We knew that we needed to do this. And then we weren't quite ready for Portland's speed in doing it in the first half. Well, all we did was say, look, this is what we practiced. This is what we planned on. We were ready for this. Let's go out and execute. And then the second half we did. And, we ended up scoring four times in the second half and winning the game going away. And it was more because we could just look at the replay and say, look, hey, let's settle down. We planned on this. You guys know what to do. We don't have to go crazy. Like, I think before we had the replay available, I could see us spending the entire halftime figuring out, okay, what are the three plays that we got to run now? Nothing's working. What do we got to run now? Let's figure out what to do. And then you go in and try to explain those to kids in 2 minutes, and they're not gonna run it. They're not gonna run it well. And you try to run those plays in the second half, you get smacked in the face again, and now you're really scrambling. It doesn't happen for us. We use it more to settle our kids down for the second half and say, look, here's what we need to do. We worked on this. We practiced it. Let's go execute.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Coach. That was awesome. It's good to talk ball today.
No doubt. Anytime.
We'll have to try to get you on again, maybe tail end of next week.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And anybody listening, if you want to contact me, go right ahead. Happy to help in any way that I can. My email is kcooper@bonneagle.org. If you don't remember it, just look on our school website, our high school website. I teach at Bonnie Eagle, so I'm right there on the staff page. So reach out to me if anybody would like to.
Sweet. Sounds good, Coach. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Coach. We'll see you.